Here are 13 lies real estate professionals have told veterans about their VA home loan benefit, and unfortunately have talked a lot of them out of using it. In this video, we are going to expose exactly what those lies and myths are so that you can find yourself more prepared and not being talked out of using the benefit that you've earned for your sacrifice to our country. If you don't know who I am, my name is Josh, and I created this VA Loan Tips channel to educate veterans and active service members around everything that goes into the VA home loan benefit. So if you want to stay up to date and have a better understanding about this unique VA loan, subscribe, join the community, and let us know what you want to learn more about. By far, the most common myth about the VA home loan benefit is going to be that VA loans can only be used once. This is definitely not true. VA loans can be used multiple times in multiple different ways, whether that's you purchasing a property with your VA loan and then selling that property and restoring the entitlement to be able to use it again, or it's maybe purchasing a property with your VA loan that you now pay off and then restore your entitlement to be able to use it again. The second most common myth about the VA home loan benefit is going to be that you can only have one VA loan at a time. This is by far not true. I was taking a class being taught by a very reputable real estate broker that had been in real estate for close to 30 years. In the class, full of about 85 other real estate professionals, said that exact thing, that veterans can only have one VA loan at a time. Veterans can have more than one VA loan at a time, and that is through what's called second tier entitlement. The next most common myth to the VA loan is going to be that it must be the veteran's primary residence. This is also not true. You see, if a veteran purchases a property with the VA loan, they do need to satisfy occupancy for at least 1 year. At the end of that 1 year, the veteran can convert that property to a rental property without having to refinance the property into a conventional loan or make any changes at all to the loan itself. The next common myth that I hear veterans say, you cannot exceed your remaining entitlement. Now, what do I mean by all of this? A minute ago, you heard me just tell you guys you can have more than one VA loan at a time, and you can use second tier entitlement to be able to purchase another property. Well, let's talk about second tier entitlement really quickly. The current county loan limit is $766,550. Let's just round that to 766. Let's say you bought a property for $300,000. If you subtract 300,000 from 766, you now have 466,000 remaining for what's called second tier entitlement. How to have or exceed your remaining entitlement, this is where the myths start to stack up. I've had people come to me and tell me that if a veteran wants to use their VA loan, they cannot exceed their second tier entitlement. And then I've had others come and tell me that they can exceed it, but the down payment is going to be whatever exceeds that remainder. The VA only requires a down payment of 25% of what exceeds your remaining entitlement. So if you're buying a property for $566 and you only have $466 left over, your down payment is only $25,000. The next very common myth that I have heard is that VA loans have a strict debt to income ratio and that you need to have a 50, 55, or even 60% or less debt to income ratio. All of those things are completely false. The VA actually does not even use debt to income ratio to qualify. VA uses a thing called residual income, which is based off where you are located geographically and your household size. So if you are buying a property with your VA loan, your debt to income ratio could be 65 or even 70% in some cases, and you still meet the residual income requirement, thus meaning you still could qualify for the VA loan. The next most common myth about VA home loan benefit is going to be that you cannot use your VA loan to buy a custom home that you're going to build as a construction loan, or you can't use it to do a renovation loan. Both of those two things are not true. You can actually do a construction loan with your VA home loan benefit, and you can also do a renovation loan with the VA home loan. The VA has two loan products for construction loans, the one-time close and the two-time close. If you want to learn about that, I have videos that I have done on that topic that I will link above and down below in the description for you guys to check out, but they also have the ability to do a renovation loan. The next most common myth that I am hearing veterans are being told is that they need to have a 620 or better credit score. VA loans don't even have a credit score requirement associated with that, and this is a big myth that unfortunately I'm hearing from a particular lender that is very well known nationwide. I'll let your imagination figure that one out. But unfortunately, what I have a lot of veterans come and tell me is that they were told that they needed to have at least a 620 to get a VA loan. Me and my team have helped veterans get VA loans with as low as a 542 credit score. And this was through what's called a manual underwrite. If you want to learn about that particular process, I've got a video for that as well, linked above and down below in the description for you guys to check out. The next most common myth that I am hearing about the VA loan is that they take too long to process. This is actually a very commonly spoken unspoken one from real estate agents that are telling me that VA loans take longer than other loans, and that is completely false. If VA loans are taking longer to close than other loans, chances are the problem is actually not the VA. The problem is most likely going to be the lender that the real estate agent or you, the veteran, are working with. So if you are finding yourself in a position where because you're doing a VA loan, you're being told that it's going to take longer to close, you just need to find yourself getting connected with a better loan team that is not going to take an extended amount of time to do something that they themselves probably don't even understand. The next one that I unfortunately hear real estate agents talk about is that VA offers are worse than conventional offers. I've had real conversations with real estate agents that have told me that they won't accept a VA offer when they're representing a seller, or VA offers are worse than other loan types. And this is completely false. They think that because this veteran is doing a VA loan, that this veteran is basically going to be a lesser qualified borrower. And this is not true. And a lot of times real estate agents will sway the seller to pick the conventional offer simply because of the down payment, when really the down payment does not affect the seller's amount that they net when they sell their home. The next most common myth that I hear about the VA loan is that sellers will have to pay fees or closing costs for the veteran if they accept a VA offer. Never has the VA loan required a seller to pay a veteran's closing costs. Now, if a veteran negotiates that into their purchase transaction, that's a whole other thing, but everything in a real estate transaction is negotiable. Everything, which means that if a seller does not want to cover those closing costs or any form of fees, well, they just simply don't have to accept that offer. They can counter that offer. The next most common myth that I hear about the VA loan from specifically real estate professionals is that VA appraisals are too strict and often come in low. False. The VA has a set of rules when it comes to the property, and these are called minimum property requirements. What they're looking for in there are three main things. Is it safe? Is it sanitary? And is it structurally sound? VA isn't the only one with a set of minimum property requirements. Every loan pretty much is going to have some form of rules and regulations around it before a lender is going to be willing to lend on that property. When it comes to VA appraisals and them supposedly coming in low, the VA does not employ appraisers. Appraisers are independent contractors that are hired by the VA. They could go do multiple different types of appraisals on the very same day. What they're looking for when it comes to that property is comparable sales for like properties in the area, which means that because they see a VA loan on the contract, they're not going to appraise it for less simply because it is a VA loan. That would be illegal. The next common myth that I hear from veterans is that if they had a VA foreclosure or a VA short sale, that they can't use the VA loan again. This is actually not true. Even if you've had a VA foreclosure or a VA short sale, you actually can still use the VA loan again. And this is through what's called second tier entitlement. And the rules that are following here are the same for a veteran who maybe has an existing VA loan that they're going to rent out and now wants to buy another property. We would have to do that same calculation like we talked about earlier to figure out how much you would have available in second tier entitlement to use the VA loan once again. If you're in the home buying process and you're not working with a real estate professional in our network, send them this video so that they can better understand the power of the VA home loan benefit. And remember one thing, Jesus loves you and he paid the ultimate price for your life. So if you want to live a life full of love, full of joy, full of peace and serenity, turn to Jesus. He has a plan for you and he wants to live in relationship with you.